Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at creating line equations. Now, we're going to be looking at it in three different ways. We're going to be looking at it when you are creating the line equations when you've given 2 points, when you've been given a point and a slope, and finally, when you've been given the graph with the line. So first, let's start off when you've given 2 points. When you're given 2 points, and you want to follow these steps. The first step you want to find is your slope. So you find m using rise over run. So y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now these points are usually labeled something like A and B, but even if they aren't, you can tell which one is your first point based on thinking about how it would look like on the graph. So just quickly, if I tried to graph this, I'd notice 1, 2, and 2, 3. Which point came first? That would be that point. So this is definitely your first point. Now with enough practice, you'll be able to tell which one's your first point without having to graph it. But until then, graphing it's a good way to do it. So let's do it. So we have y2, which would be 3, minus y1, which is 2, divided by so x2, which is 1. Nope, sorry, it's 2. Okay, so x2 is 2 minus x1, which is 1. Okay? So let's calculate this. It's 3 minus 2 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So my slope is 1. So now that I have my slope, you can write it down here, 1x plus b. You then need to find your y-intercept. So your second step is find your y-intercept. Now you can do this using pretty much any of the 2 points you used. So use any of the 2 points that you used. Okay, and you want to sub it into the equation. And sub into your equation. And then finally, solve for b. So I'm going to use the 1, 2. So using the 1, 2, this means you have 2 is equal to 1 times 1 plus b. So b should be equal to 1. So when you do that, you can put it in, and your final equation is x plus 1. Okay? And that would be the equation of this situation. Let's look at the next one. In the next situation, I'm telling you it passes through this point and it has the slope of -3. So I've already given you the tools you need. I know my m is -3, so I already know partially my equation is -3x plus b. So the only thing you have to do here is sub 2, 3 into the equation. Yes, I know my Q is weird. So you sub it in. You're going to get 3 is equal to -3, 2 plus b. That's going to give you 3 is equal to -6 plus b. So b is 9. So my equation here is -3x plus 9. And then finally, how do I find it from the graph? Well, to find it from the graph, the best thing to do is, first and foremost, find your y-intercept. And that's easily seen on the graph because you can just see where does it cross the y-axis. And it's crossing it here at y is equal to 1. So I know right away my y-axis is going to be mx plus 1. And the second thing is you find your slope, and you find your slope using the rise over run. So I'm going to erase this to get this out of the way. Now when you want to do rise over run, you just quite simply go from your first point here, and you want to see how far it went to the right or left, and how far it went up and down each time to get to this point. So to get to that point, we went to the right by 1, and we went up by 2. Okay? So we went right by 1, up by 2. So my rise was 2, and my run was 1. So m is 2 over 1, which is the same thing as saying 2. So my final equation should be 2x plus 1. Now you can easily check on this. You can check on this by doing this. You can do check. How do you check? Well, you sub one of your points. And I know one of my points would be, let's say, the 1, 2. We'll put the 1, 2 in there. No, 1, 3. So put the 1, 3. So if I put x is equal to 1, I should get 3. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So, yes, it works. And that is how you create the equation of your line using 3 different types of questions. I hope this has helped. Have a good day.